We are going to talk about shame today. And this may sound heavy, but it's one of the most liberating thing you can do. So for a long time, I didn't realize how much shame was running my life. So if I missed a deadline or made a mistake, the voice would be that it's not just this project didn't work. It was, I am a failure. And when I got constructive feedback, that's what, I usually would spiral into, I'm a bad manager, I'm bad at this, I'm incompetent, I'm not capable. And just all those thoughts about myself. And that's why I didn't like getting feedback for many years. And then I sometimes in high stakes meetings, right, would get really nervous and I would freeze in a meeting and couldn't really speak up or articulate the way that I wanted to articulate. Then afterwards, I would be thinking, what's wrong with me? I should be more confident. I should be more eloquent. Then in my marriage, I was in a very volatile marriage and I didn't feel safe. But I was terrified of being alone. So that fear of being alone kept me stuck for years. And all those years, I shamed myself. I told myself, what's wrong with me? Why am I not strong enough to leave? Then 4.5 years ago, I got burned out. I very much lost motivation for work and for the things that I used to care about. And instead of giving myself compassion, I attacked myself. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you care anymore? And why can't you pull yourself together? And then the worst thing is that with all those struggle, and I needed support. I desperately needed help. But I felt really uncomfortable to ask for help, to share all those things with people around me who cared about me. And then the thought was that if they knew, what would they think? Would they judge me? Would they see how broken I really am? So at that time, I didn't know all of those. It was shame. I just felt that I didn't like myself. And I thought I was failing. And now, knowing what I know, after I've done so much work, learning so much about nervous system, psychology, neuroscience, and now I can see so clearly it was shame. And shame was the heavy fog over everything. And it was just the heavy weight on my shoulders and on my back. And literally, I physically felt heavy, right? Shame drained my motivation, kept me isolated, and just kept telling me that I was broken. Like, what's wrong with me? So if you have the thoughts sometimes, right? What's wrong with me? Why can't I figure this out? Why am not further along already? Why I cannot handle all these responsibilities? Why cannot juggle the work and be great at work and be a great mom and all of those type of thoughts, that you are not alone. and you are experiencing shame. And shame is one of the biggest obstacles to growth and transformation. You cannot shame yourself to a better version of you, because real growth requires knowing who you are, seeing yourself as a whole, and believing that you are enough, and then grow from there. But shame tells you the opposite, that you are not enough, you're wrong, you're broken. And with that, actually, our nervous system gets into dorsal shutdown state. And in that state, there's no growth. And another thing is, shame thrives in silence. So all the years, right, all those shame were suppressed, were inside of me, were just festering inside of me. And until I started sharing all of those uncomfortable thoughts in therapy and coaching, and my life changed. My life changed because I realized a few things. One is, there was never anything wrong with me. And what I was experiencing wasn't a personal failure. I wasn't alone. First of all, it wasn't my fault that I experienced burnout and not confident, insecure, and perfectionist, not all of that. No, it wasn't my fault to begin with. And the second is that this is so common. So many of us experiencing similar kind of challenges. And only from that moment, when I begin to share it and to name it and finally see it, and that's the beginning of my healing, growth, and transformation. And today I'm going to teach you this concept of unhealthy shame versus healthy shame. So there is a role, right? Shame can be good, but if it's healthy. But what I just described about what I was experiencing, and that's the thought of, I'm not, what's wrong with me? I'm not good enough. All of those are unhealthy shame. And understanding the distinction gave me the language, the compassion, and the path forward. So, healthy shame. So, healthy shame says that behavior isn't okay. But unhealthy shame says, you are not okay. You are the problem. So, let me break it down. What exactly is healthy versus unhealthy shame, and also the origin? Where do they come from? So with that understanding, then we can work with it. So first, healthy shame. Healthy shame is that action wasn't okay, but you are not bad. So the behavior, there's two key components of healthy shame. Is that, first of all, that behavior is corrected. Second is that repair and reconnection happen afterward. So after the connection, it's adult in your life, right? We learn, this is all coming from childhood, and we are conditioned to learn what's healthy versus unhealthy shame. And after a correction, then the parent restores the connection with you, saying that, hey, you are still loved, you still belong, even though that behavior isn't okay. So the message is mistakes can be fixed, relationships can be repaired, and your worth and your identity is intact. So let me give you a couple of examples. One is, let's say, toddler is pulling a dog's tail. That's very common. When I used to walk my dog in my neighborhood, and my dog, is so cute, and the kids all love to come over and to pet her. And some of them can be very rough. So let's say one of them pulled my dog's tail. And then the parent says, well, that hurts the dog. Don't pull tails. So the child's experience in that very moment is that they feel a sting of discomfort or sadness in that moment. Because like, oh, I don't like how this feels. That my mom told me not to do this, and I wanted to do it, but it's not allowed. But the message is that behavior isn't okay, and you are still loved. Then the repair comes from the parent. Then the parent guides the kid back to pet my dog again, but gently. Then comforts the child, saying that, hey, don't do that again, but you're still a good kid. Restoring the connection. So that's how healthy shame is being conditioned into us. So there's another scenario. It's also super common, right? Let's say a kid grabs a toy from another kid. Then the teacher says, it's not fair to take without asking. Let's give it back. So the child's experience in that moment is that, wow, that doesn't feel comfortable. Even embarrassment or sadness. And they say, oh, this doesn't feel good for that child. But the message the teacher gives is that, well, sharing matters, but you are still a good kid who can learn. So the repair, the teacher helps the kid to repair. It's like help them to return the toy and then guide them to rejoin play together, restoring the connection. Do you hear that? That's the key components. One is corrective behavior. Second is that adult prepares the rupture. And then the kid feels like, oh, I'm learning. This behavior is not okay, but I'm not a bad kid. But the opposite is called unhealthy shame. It's really called internalized shame. We internalize thinking, I am bad. It's not just this behavior is bad. There's something wrong with me. It happens when the correction targets at identity level, and then the repair, the repair of the rupture is absent. Then we internalize what was done or said and making it about me. There's something wrong with me. So I'll give you a couple of examples. My personal examples. One was I got into a bike accident and was about 6 years old. I was playing tag with my brother and cousins in front of my grandma's house. And we had so much fun. I completely got carried away. So I didn't pay attention. I ran across the street. In that very moment, a gigantic bike, a man riding a gigantic bike, just running down the hill in front of the house. And it hit me. And I was sent, the impact was so strong, I was sent probably like a few feet away. I was covered in dirt and blood, and it was so painful. But in that moment, my grandma screamed at me, said that, "What's wrong with you? You're so clumsy. You're so stupid. I told you not to do this. I told you to pay attention. And you didn't. You're a bad kid." So my experience is that I felt not beyond physical pain. It was this embarrassment and shame. And I still remember that feeling. Just felt so awful. I felt I was the problem. So the message was, right, the accident, it wasn't just an accident. That incident was because I was broken, because I was stupid. And there was no repair. There was no comfort. It actually was criticism. So I internalized that message that, oh, I am bad. And I am a bad kid. Then there's another one, which is academic, right? Bring home B instead of A. And I one day proudly bringing home first grade. I couldn't care less about school. And I brought home 97 out of 100. That was pretty good in my mind. Third best in the class. I was so proud. And ran home to share with my mom. And my mom barely even looked at me. She was very stressed out. And she was busy cooking. And she said, "What about your friend Julia? Did she score higher than you?" She actually did. Then I said, "Yeah, she did." Then my mom like, "Okay, so what's so proud? Like, if you want to be proud, be the best or bring home the perfect score." Oh my gosh, that feeling. Oh my gosh, it felt so terrible. I remember it's like, why I cannot be good enough for you, right? That message is just that I'm not good enough. There was no repair. It was comparison and rejection. Then in that process, I internalized that I'm not smart enough, or I need to be perfect to be loved. So that's how unhealthy shame is formed and developed into us. Unfortunately, so many of us experience this. And it's so common among high achieving women. I see this over and over again. Just this sense of, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not successful enough. I'm not worthy enough. All of that. So with that, and how does it show up? It shows up in various different ways. So in many ways, the high achieving tendencies, the behavior patterns drive many high achieving women to success. It's actually shame-based. Very much shame-based. Probably you don't even realize. Perfectionism. It's shame-based. It's that if I make a mistake, then I am a failure. Right? It's very much outcome-based identity. And the mistakes, not just mistakes. Mistakes, it's indictment of your worth. It's evidence of your worthiness. And that is shame. Then people pleasing. People pleasing is that, oh, if I upset others, then I'm a bad person. So that's why I always need to say yes. I cannot set boundaries. And it's right, selfish. If I set boundary, I'm selfish. And that's shame-based. Another common one is overachieving. Is that without constant success, without achieving, checking the boxes, then I am worthless. So it's the shame that drives the overworking and the proving, the need to prove, the need to perform. It's very much shame driven. Another common one is the doer, just the need to constantly produce. Is that rest equals lazy and joy equals indulgent. Right? If I stop doing, if I'm, and then there's, if I stop doing, then you feel shame, you feel guilty. So all of those behavior patterns very much are, it's you internalize those messages as identity statements. So instead of saying, I don't like what I did, you feel like, I don't like myself. Well, since this unhealthy shame is a learned behavior, it's a learned condition, then we can unlearn it. So today I'm going to teach you a 4 steps process to release unhealthy shame. So the first step is pause and ground. It truly always starts with nervous system regulation. You may have heard my other episodes as well, is that nervous system is a foundation of our human experience. We cannot think our way out of shame. We need to regulate it because shame lives in the body, not in the mind. So what you need to do is in touch. First step is to be in touch with your body. To first take a pause, use breath, sound, and movement. And very much when the shame floods our system, our nervous system gets into shutdown state. And this collapse state is that I'm not good at this, I'm not good enough, I cannot figure this out, right? And there's something wrong with me, all of that. So we need to move the energy out. We need to move the energy out by feeling your feet, shake out tension, and take a walk and ground yourself. So the first step is nervous system regulation. And only when you return to a calm state and regulated state, that's when you are able to do the second step. That's when you're able to actually access the executive function of your brain. Then the second step is separate you from the shame. Instead of thinking the way that, picture it, thinking about really the shame was put on you, right? With the adults in your life unintentionally that put this dirty sweater on you. But the dirty sweater is not your skin. Your skin is pure. and smooth and intact. It's just that you have been mistaken this dirty sweater as your skin. So in that situation, just separate that. Picture it as like, okay, what just happened, that behavior, it's a dirty sweater. It's not me. Me, I am still a good person. I am smart. I am intelligent. I am a good mom. I am a good parent. It's just I made a mistake. And I could have done something differently. So it's a shame talking. It's a dirty sweater talking, not the truth of who I am. And very much the shame talking part is a protector part of you, trying to protect you. Because you shame yourself, then other people won't shame you. So that's the second step. Create this separation. And the third part is healthy protection, healthy aggression. So what happens is that shame silences. And there's, as I said, when you experience shame, very much your nervous system gets into the shutdown state. And then it doesn't really complete the cycle, because when someone shamed you, just like when my grandma yelled at me saying that, how stupid are you to cross the street like that without paying attention? And in that very moment, actually there's a lot of anger inside of me, because in my little mind, I was like, wasn't my fault. Why would you yell at me? Right? It was an accident. So, but I couldn't. That 6-year-old of me couldn't protect myself. And then that energy was stuck inside of me. So, stuck inside of my body. But in order to heal, to release that shame, you actually need to release that energy inside of you. So there's this, you need to basically move through that energy, right? The move through the energy is like need to get the energy out of my body. So there's this practice. It's called push away. Something that's super simple and even sound a little bit silly, but it's a very powerful, powerful practice. So just imagine, so you can sit comfortably in your chair or stand with your feet hip width apart, right? Knees soft. Just imagine an invisible wall in front of you. And then just put your palms, your arms next to you lift your arms up and just imagine that you press your palms firmly into this invisible wall. And imagine the weight of the wall. Feel your arms, engage your chest, engage your core, and just push it away. As you push, if you have the impulse to say something, say, no, stop, right? Just do that a few times. And each push gets, stronger, and then shake out your arms and breathe. And literally that simple act tells your body that I can defend myself now. I can protect myself now. And what you put on me, the dirty sweater you put on me, right? The what my grandma called me, I'm stupid. I'm not the problem. I'm not a dirty sweater. I don't want that anymore. Take it off me. I am strong enough to stand my ground and push back. So literally that's what that practice does. I know when you're hearing this, you're like, are you serious? This is really going to work? Yes, try it. So there's other small act you can do too. It's sometimes just punch the pillows, or throw, like, say, old plates to the ground, but in a safe way. It's literally just the same principle. It's that release the suppressed energy out of you, and this small acts of healthy aggression, right? This is healthy aggression. Literally tell your system that I'm not the problem. There's nothing wrong with me. I can protect myself now. So I have done that. This is super, super powerful. So the last one is break the silence. Share it. Share your secrets or share your shame with a trusted person, because shame feeds on secrecy, and shame thrives on silence, and it just festers. So you need to let it see the sunshine, let it breathe the air. Then that's where the healing can happen. So just like I shared with my therapists and my coaches, and you can find trusted people, or even write it down. Right? If you currently don't have anyone feel comfortable sharing, write it down, or even do a voice memo. And just that naming it out loud loosens shame's grip on you. It's very, very powerful. So that's the 4 steps process. And with that, shame loses power when you regulate your nervous system, when you calm your body, and when you separate your identity from the shame talking, when you express what was silenced and bring it to safe connection. So once again, shame thrives in silence. So the moment you name it, separate yourself from it, and let your body move through it, it starts to loosen its power. Remember, you are not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You are not the problem. You are enough. So if this episode resonated with you, I would like you to share with a friend who might also carrying the weight of shame silently. And if you're ready to go deeper, to really release shame and step into calm aliveness and calm confidence, I invite you to take the next step with me. I offer a 1-hour free consultation. And in this free consultation, we create this space. I create this space for you to stop asking what's wrong with me, and started to really understand where you are now, where you want to go, what is the gap in between, and then I give you a personalized support plan. You're going to walk away with powerful insights, and also the feeling of being seen, heard, and understood, and feeling that you are not alone, whether we work together or not. So you can use the link in the show notes to book your free consultation, and I'm very looking forward to speaking with you.